Hello and thank you for coming to my channel. This is Rick's Garage and today we're going to continue on with the build of the Honda VFR750R by Tamiya in 1/12 scale, starting on step 12, and we're going to continue on to the end of this where we actually complete the model. Now if you haven't seen my last two videos on this build, I will put a link in the descriptions below, but with all that being said, let's get started. Okay, in step 12, these are all the pieces that we need to complete the step, and I've already completed the wheel, as you can see here, and this is the photo etch brake disc that I constructed on both sides. And when you put your wheel together, you need to make sure that you're putting it on correctly as per the instructions. There is an arrow that's going to go along the edge of your tire. It's kind of hard to see in the photo here or in the video, but there is an arrow that's going to indicate the direction that the tire needs to go when you're putting your rim on. So you want to make sure that you get that on correctly. Okay. Now this side here is the left side, and this side over here is the right side. And the way that you can tell the difference using the photo etch is that on the left side we just have the plastic lug here, but on the other side we have a metal lug on the other side there. So that's going to help you identify the left and the right. Okay, so next what we need to do after you got your wheel all assembled is that we need to get our forks in, and the way we're going to do that is, again, this is the left side, and this is going to go on like this way around. Get this on correctly. It's going to go on just like this, and then we have the fork on the other side. It's going to go on just like that, and we're going to secure those in with a 1.6 by 20 mil screw. Okay, once we have our forks in place, we can then just snap our fender into place, looking like that, and they just snap into the two slots that are on both sides of the forks. And they went in nice and firm. They didn't really need any gluing, but I did put a little bit of glue on those lugs on the fender to go into the slots on the forks. So that's how that looks. Just want to make sure that on the front that you put your fender in with the long end of the fender going forward. Okay, next we want to take this piece here, this way around, and there are two slots underneath each hole, you can see, and those two slots are going to match up to the two lugs on both sides of the forks, and they're just going to, this is going to slide all the way through and rest onto those lugs like that. Okay, and there's that bar in place. And we take our handlebars this way around, and underneath the handlebars you'll have these two lug holes here and here, which are going to then just slip over these two lugs right here. And so this is going to go on this way around. This is going to go into those two lug holes right like this. And that's how your handlebars should look once those are installed. Looking just like that. And then we have the brake lines that run from the brake points down here all the way up to the handlebars up here. And then that completes step 12. Okay, in step 13, looks like we start working on the seat area right here. Then we also attach it to the bike. We've got the license plate, a couple of lights here in the back. We're going to be also attaching the fork and a couple of other detail parts that are going to go onto the bike. The first thing we need to do though is tackle the seat area, and we have to do a lot of painting on this. Well, not a lot of painting, we just have to be careful on how we paint it because we don't have any masks. So our saving grace is going to be that most of the gray area right here, the two gray areas right here and this area and through here, this is all decals. And then right up in this area right here, this lighter or this darker gray area right here, that represents a blue color, and then we have a white stripe that goes along the edge of this seat area. And then we also have a clear part that needs to go in as well. So the way I'm going to tackle this is that I'm going to first paint this in white, and then once the white is dry, then I'm going to mask off just a little bit of where the blue is going to be, because the decals are really going to be our saving grace. They're really going to actually create the design that we're going to be looking for once we've completed this part. So the only thing I really need to do is paint the whole thing in white, and then mask off just part of this area right here where the two grays are coming together. Just kind of mask off this area a little bit, and all the way across to the other side. This little design that you see right here, where the blue is creating a little bit of a design, this design is going to be created by our mask, or not mask, but our decal. So the only thing I need to do when I paint the blue is to make sure that I've got a little bit of a line right down in through here, because remember, this is going to be a decal that's going to form this line. So I just have to make sure that my blue is somewhere in this area right in through here, and then complete that pattern all the way across this way, so that when I put my decals on, I'm going to be able to create this pattern and also this line. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to assemble this, and the way that's going to go on is you just have your two halves like this, and they're just going to form together like, well, actually it's going to go this way, and then this way. Put those two together like so, create that like that, and then once that's dry, slip this here in the back, which is going to go this way, and then this going to go into this area right here, and then sand everything down and start painting. The clear part is going to be slipped into the back area here very easily, so that's not going to be a problem. So the first thing I need to do is put this together, glue it, sand it, prime it, and start our painting process. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now on this part. I've got it assembled. As you can see here, we got that end right there in the back. It just slips in, and then it folds itself over these tabs right here to create those two squares. And then I've been working on getting rid of the seam. And through here I've been using Tamiya white putty to do all that work. There was a little bit of putty work that had to go in through here. There was a kind of a dip in there, or gap, so I had to fill that in with putty. And a little bit over in this area here, sending down the seam here, trying to get rid of that. And so right now I'm at the point where I'm going to then apply a little bit of a white primer to this to see exactly where I'm at in terms of any more sanding or putty work that needs to be done. Okay, now that I have the white applied, and I only focus down in this area and through here on both sides, we look at the picture in the instructions. It looks as if the blue comes right underneath the edge of this window here. So it's going to be right around through there. So I'm going to hedge my bet, and I'm going to put a line, a masking line right through here. Then I'm going to wrap it up this way. And if we notice that there is a design here between the decal and the blue stripe that comes up through here, and a little bit between these two squares right here, I'm going to then wrap it around this way so that the blue comes up right about in this area here. So looking at it this way around, I'm going to put this way. I'm going to put the blue around this way, up this way, then down this way, and then it's going to then come round up this way and then up through here, because I think that's how it's going to work. I'm going to guess that the line here on this side is going to be about the same area as this window that's on this side over here. So I'm going to hedge my bet and put a little bit more blue down in this area here, because I know that the decal is going to hide whatever blue that I've got there that I don't need. I hope that makes sense, but right now that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start masking this off and getting that blue color on. Remember, this is all guesswork because we don't have any masks to work with. Okay, so I got the blue painted on, and I also, what I did was I took the decals and I scanned them so I can cut out a pattern that will give me an idea of how the decals are going to be applied and how they're going to line up onto the part here. And I think I got this right. I think this is going to work out just fine. The decals from the printed paper here are lining up the way they should. We've got this lined up like that, coming around here, and then this lining up over here. So I believe that I've got, between the white and the blue, I think that the decals are going to basically go on just fine to give that separation between the red, the blue, and the white. And to show you what I did in terms of painting and how that actually came out, and what I did, I'm going to go ahead and take these off. Get this last piece off here like so, and that's how the blue got applied. You can see it's not, you know, a clean job. It's not all razor sharp and everything because I didn't need to do it that way. But there's the other side right there, and there's the back end right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and give this a coat of Tamiya clear so that I can get the decals on, and then after that finish up with getting this completed. Okay, so I had a little bit of a problem with the decals. They actually will show through the blue and the white. Well, it doesn't actually show the white, but it does definitely show the blue color. So I had to completely redo the masking. And as you can see, I've only painted this area up in here blue, and I followed the line on this piece right here that goes across this window right here, and then I also followed the same type of pattern on the other side. And then I took some Tamiya 3mm tape to create this line right here, and also this line right down there, and remasked everything and repainted everything. So hopefully now when I put the decals on, everything is going to turn out just fine, and when I come back, hopefully I'll show you a successful piece. Okay, so here is the seat area all painted up with the decals on it, and this did not go well at all. I'm not really pleased the way this came out. One of the first things you can notice here that there's a white stripe. That is a product of not having masking available to you in order to paint this so that the colors are in the right format to match where the decals are going to go. That was a huge problem. And the other problem I had was when I tried to get this back decal on, it was not aligning up properly to the top area. So I had to remove that decal, paint this area in red, so to hide the white bleed through that was coming through to the seams. So there was a little bit of a white seam that was going across here that I could not hide. So I had to take the decal off, paint that area in red, wait for that to dry, and then reapply the decal. There was also another couple of areas in through here that I had to also paint in blue after the decal was applied because the masking problem. Again, it was all with this whole entire piece is frustrating because you have no mask. You just have, it's a bunch of guesswork that you have to do, and it's a very, very frustrating. If you're thinking that I might not be recommending this model, I'm actually moving into that direction very quickly. But that's where I left it. The more that you try to play with your decals to try to lay them down flat to get all the air bubbles out, all the water from underneath out, and to smooth everything down, even with a lot of Mark Fit Strong. I also used some Micro Sole to help with the softening of the decal. At one point, as you're trying to reposition or to position your decals, the more you do that, the more chances you have to damage your decal, which I did do. This area in and through here actually ripped, and tried to hide that as best as I could. You really can't see it, but it's there, and that was a disappointment and a frustration. So this entire piece, just for the decals, just getting the decals on, took me over an hour to do. And that just added more and more frustration to this, to the point where I just had to say, that's it, I'm done. I can't do any better than I've got right now. And you just kind of like leave well enough alone. So that's how it looks. Again, I'm not happy with it, but it is what it is. So I'm going to put this aside for a moment, and we're going to continue on with step 13. And I have all the pieces over here painted up, and we're going to take these pieces right here, which are the rear view lights, I think, that goes on the back. And where they're going to go on is that you have these notches here on the back of the bike, and then you have these little clips here on back of this piece. I've already got the clear part painted in orange, clear orange there, and this is just going to then clip into this area right back here, just like that, and then we're going to go ahead and glue that in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, and those are the lights installed, and that is another example of a frustrating piece because it's very difficult to get those lights in. They don't snap in, there's not a lug for them. They just go into a slot, and then you have to hold it in place so that the glue can set and dry enough for you to put it aside for a while. So that's another aspect of this build that's very frustrating. But that's the lights installed. Now next we're going to do is we're going to take this license plate right here, which I've already got a metal detail attached to it, and there are two lugs on the back that are going to go into the two holes that are back where the license plate goes. So I'm going to get that in. Okay, and there is the license plate on, looking like that. Now next what we need to do, we need to get our seat installed. And the way this is going to go on, oh, before I go into that, see this decal right here that's on that part right there, and then you have all this detail that we have in here. Take a good look at that, because you'll never see it again once we put the seat on. So on the seat, you're going to have these two connecting points right here, these two lugs right here on the wings, and then you have also two connecting points right down in here. You really can't see it, but they're there. Are going to match up to the two areas here on our frame. These two holes right here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, are going to match up to the two lugs that are on back of that wing. So this is going to go on like this, and then it's going to lower down, and then these two lugs right here, connecting points right here, are going to match up into this area right here. So let me go ahead and get that on. Okay, and that went in a lot easier than I was anticipating, since I've had so many problems with parts not going in correctly or very easily. But that went in just fine. Again, the two connection points right here, they just snap right into place, so you don't really need any glue here. But I did put some glue onto the frame area here to help hold that in place. But that is our seat in, looking just like that. Okay, now next we need to take this piece here, looking like this, and there is a lug here, right there, and then we have this ledge right here. Okay, that's going to go into, the lug is going to go into here, and then that ledge is going to go into this little triangle area here. What you need to do is that you need to position your piece like this, put it in like this, and then twist it around so that then that lug goes into the hole. So let me get that in. Okay, now when you have that in correctly, that's how that should look. So again, you need to kind of put this triangle area right down in here, that ledge, into this hole here, or that slot. Then move your piece up in this direction until the lug gets into that hole, and that will put it into the right position that it needs to be in. But that's how that looks when that's installed. Okay, next we need to take this piece here, looking like this, and these two lugs are going to go into those two holes right there. Okay, and that's how that looks once that's installed, looking just like that. Okay, next we need to take this piece looking like this, and these two square lugs right here are going to go into the two square holes under the frame. Okay, and that's how that looks once that's in. And the one interesting aspect of this is it goes right on top of that radiator cap. Kind of begs the question, how do they get access to that radiator cap on the real bike? But that's how that looks once that's in. Okay, next we put the seat in, or the seat backrest in, which is this piece right here, and that's just going to go into this slot right back here. And that's how that looks once that's in. Okay, and the pièce de résistance is getting our front fork in. The way that's going to go in is pretty simple, and we can actually use a simple install. We're going to line these two points up just like this, going in like that, and then we're going to secure that in just like that with a 1.6 by 20 mil screw. And there's our front fork installed, looking like that. Now that screw is difficult to screw in, so take your time with it. I had to screw it in, back it out a little bit, screw it in, back it out a little bit until I was able to get that screw to go all the way through and to properly secure that fork in place. But that is our fork in place. Okay, now the last thing that we need to do, we need to take this piece looking like this, and there's a little lug hole right there, and this piece is just going to fit right into the lug hole just like that, right in through there. I'm going to get that in. Okay, and then that's how that piece looks once that is in, looking like that. And that's very loose. I mean, the lug on that piece is smaller than the lug hole, so it goes on very loose. And I'm going to guess that it should actually be flush and level with the frame. So that's how I put mine in. I have no idea what that piece really is for. I've never seen anything like that, but I'm not a motorcycle guy. Maybe one of you out there can actually tell me what that piece really is for. But once that is in, that then completes step 13. Okay, working on step 14, we've got our instrument panel we need to start working on. We got our stand, we got our headlight assembly we need to do, our gas tank, our seat, some detail parts right here, and it looks like we're going to be connecting our last two remaining hoses that we have on the bike. Now again, on this kit, we do not have paint masks, which is very frustrating because there's no guidance whatsoever on how to paint this as it relates to the decals. Now the decals are just a gold stripe that runs along the side of the gas tank, and by looking at this decal and this one over here, it doesn't look like it actually goes around the entire gas tank. I think there's a gap somewhere back in here or maybe in through here. Again, that's all just guesswork. So not knowing exactly how these decals are going to go on because we don't have a paint mask to help us, what I've decided to do is that I have already painted this in a white primer. And I'm going to then paint the whole entire thing in gold. Okay. Then I'm going to apply a thin masking tape, which is Tamiya 2mm tape, and that's going to go around the perimeter, around the sides of the gas tank, starting from here all the way in the back here. And then I'm just going to apply that tape all the way around. And then I'm going to mask off this top part up here, paint the bottom part in blue. When that dries, mask off the blue and paint the top part in white. And when that dries, I will remove that masking tape to reveal the gold stripe, and hopefully I'll have something to come back and show you a successful looking piece here. That's the only idea that I've got really that is going to help paint this, because learning with my experience that I did on the seat, if I don't get the colors accurate enough between the two colors and the borders of the decals, you're going to see some paint bleed through those decals, and I don't want to see that. I don't want that to happen. So that's my plan, and hopefully when I get back and show you the end result, it's going to be a successful looking gas tank. Okay, and here is our gas tank all painted up, and all the decals are on it, or just two decals, one on this side and one on that side, and then I did add a photo etch part right there in the center, which is the gas cap. And the way this is going to go into the bike is that you've got these two lug holes right here, and this lug in the back here. The two lugs are going to fit into these two lugs right here, and then that lug is going to go into that hole right there. So this is going to go on like that. Okay, and there's the gas tank in, looking just like that, and it just kind of like snaps right into place. Okay, now the other thing that we had to do is that we had to take this hose that goes from this lug on top of the gas tank, and the instructions do not tell you where to put that hose. So I made a guess and just stuck it underneath the gas tank like that. That's another aspect of this build that I don't like. Sometimes they show you where a part goes, but it doesn't tell you exactly how that part's supposed to go in, and this is just another example of that. Okay, next we need to take our seat looking like this, and on the back of the seat we have these two lugs on the back. Those two lugs are going to go into this rectangle area right here, and then this area right here where the indent is going to butt up against the gas tank. So this is going to go in just like that. Okay, next we want to take this hose right here leading from this lug right there, feed it up this way, wrap it around the fork right here so it loops around this way around, and we connect it then to this lug right there. Okay, then what we want to do is we want to take this piece looking like this way around, and you want to connect these two lugs right here into these two holes right there. And that's how that looks once that's installed, looking just like that. And I have no idea what this lug is for. It is not identified in the instructions. There's not a tube that goes on there or a line that goes on there or anything. So I have no idea. Just another, I don't know, irritating thing about this model. You've got a part there that looks like something should go on it, and it is not called out in the instructions. Okay, next we take this piece here, which we have a decal for. It's already on. And this lug hole right here at the top, right there, it's going to go on top of that lug right there. Okay, I think this is a radiator coolant or a reservoir of some sort, and I just added a hose here. It's not called for in the instructions, but I just added a little bit of a drain hose right here that comes up through here and drains out down that way. You're probably not going to see it once the front cowl or the side cowls are on, but I just thought I would add that. Okay, now next what we need to do is we need to get our instrument panel on, looking like that. And we also have a lug right here that we need to connect this hose to, which leads all the way from back here. So let me get that on. Okay, now that you have your hose on your instrument panel, there is a hole right back here. Don't know if you can see that or not, right here. And that's going to fit into or onto this lug that we have right up in here. Okay, that's a little tricky to get in, but you'll know that it's in correctly when you feel it snap into place. It looks just like that. That's how it looks right from the driver's viewpoint. Okay, now next what we need to do, we have our headlight assembly, looking like that. And this little indent that you see right there, that square indent, is going to go onto this lug right here. Okay, and that's how that looks when the lights are on or installed. But, this assembly right here looks kind of weird though, doesn't it? Okay, next we need to put these two pieces in, and it's almost like you have to do it simultaneously. There's a lug right here, which is going to go into this hole right here. Then, at the same time, we need to take this piece here, and we put it through that hole like that, other way around, like that. And then we take this piece and put it into that hole right there. Okay, now the way these two pieces here go together is like it has a locking mechanism. As you can see right there, goes in just like that, and when you get it in right, kind of locks itself into place. Okay, now my recommendation is to wait for this little assembly right here to dry before you put it on the bike. Okay, and that's how that looks when that piece is in, looking like that. And that then completes step 14. Okay, now in step 15 is where we start working on the front cowl. We also have this bottom one here to do as well. I think the bottom one's going to be a lot easier to assemble or paint because it's basically all one color with a couple of decals. But up here, this one's going to be a problem because we don't have a paint mask, which I've mentioned several times on this build. And we have three colors, I think, or at least two colors. We have the white that's going to go up here. This is all going to be blue. And then we have a couple of decals that we need to put on. And again, trying to line those decals up to where the paint borders are going to match is going to be a little bit of a problem. So what I think I might do is paint all this in white and then paint the blue and make the border of the blue go around about the last quarter bottom of where these holes are right here. Kind of following the example that we have on the picture art of on the side of the box here. Now this is not a correct representation because on this representation we have basically three or four colors. We got the white, we have this color blue here, we have a darker blue there, and then we have a red border here. Well, on ours we don't have that. On ours we have a blue section here, and then we have two red decals that are going to go into this area here. So this is really not a true representation of what we actually have. But what I'm going to try to do is follow the example here where the blue comes right up to about almost just barely into the circles right here. So it's going to go pretty far down right there. That's how I'm going to try to do my border. And then hopefully that is going to help align with the two decals that are going on the side right here. So I won't know that, of course, until it gets all assembled or painted. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so I made a mistake on how this should be prepared and painted up and masked off. I took the mistake on these decals, and I thought that the decals were supposed to go on like that on this piece. It's supposed to go around like that because of the window that you see on the wing of the part right here. Well, this is a color and this is a color. I think this is blue, this is royal blue, and then this number 2 here indicating a decal is really a decal stripe. It's a gold stripe that goes across. And then this down here, that is a decal, and that decal is this decal here. So essentially the box art is correct. If you look at the box art, we actually do have a blue and a royal blue and then a red stripe going down this way. Okay, so I've corrected my mistake by doing my masking, And the way that I'm doing the masking now is I've taken this vinyl tape strip here from Tamiya and I've lined it up with this line right here. As the part curves down this way, I put the tape right underneath that line to go across these circles right here that really are going to be for the headlights. And this area here then is going to be white. I've already masked off everything on both sides for the windshield, and I have masked off this side here for white, and I'm going to paint the back side here also in white. And then when that dries, I'm then going to mask off from this area here down for the blue, and then down again for the royal blue. And the way that I'm going to do that is the same way that I did with the gas tank. I'm going to spray this basically where I think the decal should be in gold, and then mask that off, and then paint this in blue and the royal blue, leaving this strip right here for the gold. Okay, here's our front cowl all painted up, looking like that, and that came out pretty good. It is a royal pain in the butt to paint because you got to protect your windshield up here, and then you got to mask everything off in order to paint the white. Then you got to mask off the white in order to paint the blue. Then you got to mask off the blue in order to paint the royal blue. And then of course you also have to paint in your gold stripe. So it is a real pain in the butt to paint and to also get those decals on. Okay, and then we also have our bottom cowl looking like that. So that came out pretty good as well. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we're working on step 15. So we need to get our kickstand on. And I brought over my part workup bridge mat for this. And this is the kickstand, all painted up. And what we're going to do is we're going to align this hole here, up with a hole right here on the frame, just like that. And we're going to then secure that in with a 1.2 by 4 mil screw. Okay, and there's the kickstand in place, looking like that. Now my the screws that they gave me were, for whatever reason, were too big for that hole. So I just added a little bit of super glue to that screw and then screwed it in. And I really don't care that it's not going to be a usable kickstand because the model is going to be on the model stand anyway. So I'm not going to be using that kickstand. So that's how that looks. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to get our front cowl on. The way that's going to go on is going to go just like this. And the screw hole here is going to line up with this screw hole here. So get that tube underneath there. We're going to line it up just like that, and then we're going to line up also on the other side as well, right back here, and we're going to secure that in with a 1.2 by 4 mil screw. Okay, and then the bottom part of the cowl just kind of snaps right into place, which really is not an easy thing to do, but we got it in. Okay, now next what we need to do is we need to get our rear view mirrors in, and they have a lug here at the bottom right there like that, and that's going to fit into that square hole right there on both sides. And then we need to get these lights on, which has a lug looking like that, and they're going to go into the hole right down to here. And once we get those pieces on, our bike will be completed. Okay, the model is finally done. And this is the most frustrating and aggravating build that I've ever completed. You know, maybe it's because my skills as a model builder are not at the level to be able to build this. You know, I don't know. But for me, I had nothing but problems. From minor details such as the parts not really fitting securely into place, to not being able to see what you're doing, such as the engine detail that went into the seat area, and fitting the exhaust that went deep inside the enclosed area of the engine, to instructions not identifying where a hose should be connected, such as with the gas tank. And the granddaddy of them all, the #1 problem that I had was no masks to assist in painting the cowls. not to mention at least having color photos to be able to assist you in painting those cowls. And also too, one of the big frustrations with the cowls is that they're clear plastic, and that just added to more complications of painting it. You know, what Tamiya should have done was to have clear plastic and regular parts to give you the option of whether or not you wanted to paint this. So with all that, I can't recommend building this. It just has too many problems that for me takes out of the joy of being able to build it. I'm just not happy with how the cowls came out, and I'll probably end up doing this again so that I can repaint the cowls. And if I do, I'm going to paint them so that I don't have to use the decals or use very little of them. And if I do this again, let me know in the comments section if you'd like to see a video on how I'm going to paint those cowls. Now, with all that being said, I hope this video was informative for you. And if you do plan on building this, that I was able to help you out or give you a heads up on how this model is being put together, and that you'll give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you can be notified of new videos that are posted to the channel. Other than that, always have fun in your garage, your workshop, or wherever it is that you build your models. And until next time, thanks for watching.